All right, welcome to the show, everybody. So I apologize if the show is getting up a little bit late, but your boy was sick as a dog yesterday. So I didn't prep the show at the time I would normally prep the show, and I literally didn't have the ability to focus or even read an article or listen to a video. I was just like writhing in pain. There's I guess you could call it a stomach bug that's been ripping through our house. First two of the kids got it, then Crystal got it, and I thought like I'm in the clear, I'm good, and then lo and behold, a day later, boom, I got hit with it, and it was a rough one. Holy shit! So I'm coming to you guys now. I'm like 75, 80% better. So it's struggling a little bit, struggling just a little bit. I was like severely dehydrated. I didn't eat anything at all for like 24 hours. I just couldn't keep anything down. So anyway, I'm soldiering through. So again, apologies that this video or this show is a little bit later than it normally is, but I couldn't get it out any earlier. So all right, what do we have for you today? So it appears like Fox News has completely and utterly turned on Donald Trump, where they're done with him. I mean, I've never seen it this clear cut, and it is very clear cut. You're about to see. And then later on, we have Benjamin Netanyahu backs down from his judicial reform that he's been trying to push through in Israel because it appears like Israel was on the brink of civil war. And then we also have Fox News has a gun control debate, which is kind of surprising because you would think everybody there has a uniform opinion on it, but apparently not. And we'll talk about the little bit about the Tennessee shooting that just happened. There was a trans individual who did a shooting, and of course you have the likes of Matt Walsh and people like that who are almost doing a victory lap and pretending now like trans terrorism is the number one problem in the country, when of course, I mean, look, you dive into the numbers, it's like, what, 99% of mass shootings are done by, cis men, but nobody says, like, there's a cis man terrorist problem. Anyway, I digress from that. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so Trump had his first rally the other day in Waco, Texas. And, he chose Waco because it's a hub of right-wing extremism. I mean, everybody remembers there in the 1990s, the Branch Davidians and the standoff with the ATF, and it really helped spark a rise in, like, these anti-government extremist groups. And so Trump picked it on purpose. Now, the content of his speech didn't fail to deliver either, because he leaned into the whole, the January 6th people are victims, et cetera, et cetera. And it appears like this is a bridge too far for many of the Fox News hosts. So I have a couple videos here for you. Take note, not just the fact that they're now going after Trump, but how aggressively they're going after Trump. Watch this. We'll start with Stuart Varney.
Let's bring in Rachel Campos-Duffy, friend of the program, my friend from Fox and Friends. Okay, Rachel, Trump also posted a video, an image, actually. It was an image on social media. This is the one with the baseball bat. Okay, I'm not going to show it because it's been deleted. Does the country support Trump wielding a baseball bat, threatening mayhem, and calling Alvin Bragg an animal? Is that what we want to see in a presidential candidate?
I mean, I think those are things we expect to see from Donald Trump. This has already been baked in the cake.
Do we like it?
I think, well, what I'm saying is I think the people went to that rally, what they wanted to hear about was this two-tier justice system. And he has become a symbol of that. And I think there's a lot of conservatives out there.
To call him a symbol of the two-tier justice system is hilarious, because it's true, but in the exact opposite way that she means it. She means, like, bro, there's a two-tier justice system. They're unfairly going after President Trump, and they're leaving alone, the Democratic criminals or whatever. No, the real two-tier justice system is the haves and the have-nots. The elites and the regular people. Like, that's the real two-tier justice system. And then, of course, you have, you have an issue inside of a two-tier justice system. There's like a bifurcation from within that. Also, when you bring in race and you look at the drug war and look at how it's disproportionately used against people of color, et cetera, like, there are problems with our justice system, but the biggest one would be that elites always get away with their crimes. And here she is cheerleading for an elite to get away with his crimes.
See, whether it's January 6th versus the 2020 rioters, how differently they were treated, raiding you know, his Trump's home and his kid's bedroom, but Hunter Biden's not.
Look,
I think people are very worried about this two-tier justice system. Let me just say this. I interviewed some Venezuelans on my program about a year ago. I said, when did you know things were going wrong in Venezuela? And they said, when the justice system was weaponized against the opposition. I think this is something very...
Okay. Hold on now. You could just as easily make the argument things started to go wrong in Venezuela when they realized that elites could commit crimes and get away with them. Which, again, is functionally exactly what she's arguing should happen with Trump. Come on, let him get away with his crimes. What's the big deal?
Troubling for people, and they're looking for somebody strong.
How do you think independents in this country will react?
I don't think he's trying to win independence right now. I think he's trying to win the primary.
He can't win the election without independence.
Right, but
he's got 30% of the Republican Party as his base. He may get them, but if he doesn't have the independence, he can't win.
But you have to win the race you're in right now. Right now, he's in a primary. You see it all the time, Stuart. You know that people pivot once they get, you know, into the general and versus the primary. Right now, he's trying to do something else. Now, listen, DeSantis is also fighting on a different level, and I think what he is doing well is saying, I'm going to take on the indoctrination and so many of the cultural issues that are eroding our country. We had some polls out today. You and I talked about some of them on our show earlier on Fox and Friends, where, you know, 80% of Americans think we're on the wrong track. They think that, you know, patriotism and so many other things are on the decline. So those are some of the things.
So notice what just happened there. Varney was hammering her on Trump, being like, this guy's crossed a line. And now she's like, well, I like DeSantis, and let me tell you some things I like about DeSantis. So even the pro-Trump Fox hosts now are like, maybe I should sort of soften this a little bit and say, I also like DeSantis.
That Ron DeSantis is doing well. But I think that also people are looking for somebody who can take the punches.
Okay, I'll return to my original question.
Okay.
How do you think Americans feel about a presidential candidate wielding a baseball bat prior to a possible indictment and calling his judicial opponent an animal? Now, how do you think we feel? Is that a rightful place in American politics?
Listen, if you want to line up all the things that Donald Trump has done that aren't, you know, the way other people do it, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of things that people don't like about him. Yeah. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that like the strength that he shows and think that he is the one person who can take on what I think is a real deterioration in our country. You know, economically, but also I think this justice system is, and that's why this situation with Alvin Bragg is so important. Do I care that Donald Trump, you know, paid off some hooker? I don't love it, but you know what bothers me more? China paying off our president, our current president. So I'm just saying, let's just look at things in fairness.
Okay, in fairness is a good thing. Rachel, thank you very much for being here.
So that, now understand something. Stuart Varney was a massive, massive Trump sycophant for the longest time. What happened? Why all of a sudden is his line of questioning there was very, very anti-Trump? What happened? Well, he's a good representative of the moneyed interests of like Republican elite donors. Because that's, you know, those are his people. He's the Fox Business host guy, and so he runs in these elite Republican circles. And so him being more openly anti-Trump is a sign that the Republican donor class is totally done with Trump. Totally done. Okay, so that was really interesting. Of course, what he was alluding to there is the Trump tweeting the thing where he held a baseball bat and Alvin Bragg was in there and in the picture next to him, and they got a bunch of death threats and bomb threats and whatnot. And so this is him saying like, hey man, that's absurd. That goes way too far. Okay, well, I got more for you. It's not just Stuart Varney. So here's Brian Kilmeade. This is the strongest I've ever seen Brian Kilmeade argue against Trump.
This is such an opportunity for Republicans just to say, look at what we did. Look at what he's doing. Look at what we had. Look at what he's doing. And I think for President Trump to spend 80% of his time complaining about court cases instead of just looking at his own record and what he would have done. And let me tell you what I would have done to SVG. Let me tell you what I would have done over in to Syria if our guys got hit for the 74th time and twice in 2 days. He does that or other candidates do that, they're going to be unbelievably successful because that's going to be the conversation at the kitchen table. Instead, the President of the United States, former President of the United States, opened up with January 6th video, which is insane. He should be running from that, period. I don't care his point of view. That is not a good thing for him. I thought that was absolutely awful. Even though he is winning in the polls, that will not help.
So hitting Trump, because at the Waco rally, it was just a grievance rally. It was just, oh my God, woe is me. They're coming after me. They're targeting me. Look at these people. Look at the two-tier justice system. It's unfair. And he opened up with the January 6th choir or something like that. And it's like, stop. So what you're seeing now is the Republican moneyed interests and polite society going, dude, what the hell? Reel it in. And they're telling him, like, run on your record. Now, by the way, his record sucked too. But their point is, stop proving that you are the extremist that people think you are. Because Brian Kilmeade said he's insane talking about Trump right here. He's right. He's right about that. All right, more. So we got another one.
Jason, you said overall you thought President Trump did a very poor job in the interview. Why?
I thought Sean Hannity did a good job, but I watched that and I thought, where is Donald Trump? I voted for Donald Trump twice. I have defended him countless times. I thought he was horrific. I think that was the worst interview I've seen the president do. He was whining. He was complaining. He played the victim card time and time again. And then after that, he complained that, somebody he had endorsed was now running against him. And I thought he was absolutely horrific. He's the former president of the United States. Act like it. He didn't in that interview.
Guys, the fix is in. The fix is in. Rupert Murdoch has now said, actively go all in for DeSantis. We're done with Trump. Republican donors are now all in for people other than Trump. They're not there for Trump anymore. And this is the most openly anti-Trump I've seen Fox News. Now, what does this tell you? Look, I think it actually tells you something very straightforward. I think they all realize now he just can't win a general election, so we can't go with him. If they thought he could win a general election potentially, they would probably still be totally on the bandwagon, totally, trying to get him across the finish line. But I think they now realize there's like no chance for him in a general election. He's too extreme. He's just too extreme. You're going to lose the normies. You're going to lose the moderates. You're going to lose the independents. And by the way, you know how I know this? You know how I know that they know this? Look at this. This was on Fox Business. Do you want Donald Trump to be reelected? Yes, 38%. No, 61%. And as you can see, this was on Varney and Company. It was a Marist poll, so a very well-respected polling outlet. So again, they're in a pickle. The pickle is Trump is a massive favorite for the Republican primary, but he would get absolutely draxed in a general. So what does Fox News have to do here? They're doing a difficult balancing act, right? The balancing act is like, you can't piss off the pro-Trump people too much because that's the majority of your audience. But also, you got to impress upon them, we're done here, man. We can't keep going down this path unless you want Republicans to lose in perpetuity, because they will. And so that's why you now see they're leaning in more and more now, leaning in more and more to being anti-Trump. And they're going to keep bolstering DeSantis. By the way, I think one of the main reasons why DeSantis had never imploded to the point of a Jeb Bush or a Marco Rubio is because he has the backing of Fox News pretty clearly now. So even though Trump is rising, he's still kind of hanging on around 20% or whatever. So we'll see what happens, but I've never seen Fox News this aggressively anti-Trump, and I really think at the end of the day, it all comes down to electability. It all comes down to they don't think he could win a general election, and you know what? They're right about that. So they're trying to slowly but surely facilitate that divorce. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.